We are going to have the second session for the basics, the fourth virtue of navigatorship. The basic keywords are friends, manners, appreciation, listening, honesty, respect, laugh, consideration. In the 15th session, we talked about friends, manners. Today, we will start from appreciation. The dictionary concept of thanks is feeling grateful or such a mind. You must be thankful only because you are alive. And a life of thankfulness for a small thing should become a habit. Those who live in thanksgiving every day are full of life, as if they had a spring that does not dry out. They gather people like a magnet that draws iron, brightens the dark surroundings. Everything in the world depends on what aspect you are looking at. Thanks are the same also. When we find our gratitude and thank ourselves, we can become nobler. There is a hidden blessing in adversity, and the daily retreat is a preparation for a new leap. It turns negation into affirmation, chaos into order, and confusion into clarity. Thanks make the past understandable, bring peace to the present, and present a vision for the future. Konosuke Matsushita said, "The common point between prisons and monasteries is that they are isolated from the world. But if there is a difference, it is only a complaint or an appreciation. Even in a prison, it can become a monastery." Gandhi said that the amount of gratitude is the amount of happiness. Thankfulness and happiness are proportional, and the most powerful weapon to succeed is thanksgiving. Appreciate every moment. Open your mind and affirm everything. Although language and skin are different, the order of words taught to a child is the same for parents of almost every country and nation on earth. After mom and dad, the next word to teach is thank you. We are pursuing happiness, but we do not know where happiness begins. Some people argue that the more often you say thank you, the happier you are. Great success also comes from this little habit. Thanks to your words, you can make a deep relationship and you can live a healthy and lively life. Continuing to practice appreciation will help you recover from adversity more quickly, build up immunity to adversity, lengthen lifespan, gain a favorable response from others, and solve problems creatively. If we do not exist, there will be nothing to be thankful for, but the more we appreciate, the better attitude we bring, and the attitude will bring happiness. Appreciation is not just a response to a reason, but an underlying attitude to life. When you change your attitude toward life, the external attitude that responds to you also changes. The word, thank you, has a strong power to change your whole life. This is a secret key to boosting potential. An unhappy day begins with a complaint. A happy day begins with gratitude. Good things will happen if you stop complaining and fill the place with thanksgiving. It will have to happen. A person with gratitude counts everything as a gift from God. When our hearts are filled with gratitude, the world becomes beautiful and sweet, and the adversity becomes sweet. With the effect of thanksgiving, open your closed heart and inspire your spirit to awaken your potential and your great talents which have been sleeping. If you are ready to exert new inspiration, creativity, and achievement of new ground with the power of living, breathing thanksgiving, let your body and mind be as inspired. You will experience incredible changes in your mental, professional, financial, health, and human relationships. We have too much to thank. You can eat, see, hear, feel, and walk. The world famous composer Beethoven was deaf, and the great American writer Helen Keller could not see. Stephen Hawking, a famous English astrophysicist, is also living in a wheelchair for life. Be thankful for being able to wake up in the morning, and be thankful that you can fall asleep in the evening. You should be grateful for being able to appreciate, see, and hear, and having a healthy body and a beautiful spirit. You need to be greeted with a smile and always appreciate through dialogue and praise. If it is hard to study, you should be grateful for the opportunity to study and be thankful that there is work if it is hard to work. If the tax comes out, it means that you have income, and if your clothes are somewhat tight on your body, it means that you are eating well and living well. If a parking space is too far away, it means that you can not only walk, but also have a car. And if there is too much heating cost, it means that you live in a warm place. And if your whole body is stiff and tired, it means that you worked hard. And if you wake up early in the morning with a loud alarm, it means that you are still alive. And if emails are pouring too much, it means there are so many people who think of you. It is also grateful if you think about the complaints and dissatisfaction backwards. The lexical concept of listening is listening attentively. Yang Chul Lee, a founder of the Samsung Group, appointed Kun Hee Lee as the successor and delivered him a writing, Listen Attentively. The essence of Samsung's global management was listening attentively. It takes 2 years to learn speaking, but it takes 60 years to learn silence. Being one with the other with the eyes of the mind seems to be the core of listening attentively. There is no flattery as good as listening. Listening is a heart that wants to hear what the other party is trying to say. It means to approach your body and listen to it. Listening attentively is a way of listening to and understanding the other person with patience and showing the reaction that the other party is expecting. In the end, how well you listen to others is the basis of communication. In a hospital survey for kindness, the question of which doctor is most faithful was the doctor who listened to patients and focused on patient stories. Showing that you are concentrating on the other party can bring you more effective reliance than 100 words. Dialogue is not a one-sided communication but an exchange of feelings. If so, you should respond appropriately and agree enthusiastically. That becomes the signal that this person is listening to me seriously, and you can instill a positive image in a short period of time that you are friendly and talkable. Like a chant of a master in Korean traditional songs, you should be able to excite the other party. It is helpful to hear better than to say a lot. There is also the phrase, speech is silver, but silence is gold. According to one survey, if a person is given a salary, he will work 20% of your ability. If he is paid more than his competitors, he will work 50%, and if he is given praise, he will work 80%. However, if he knows his mind, he will demonstrate his ability 120%. It is said that there is a step to hearing well. In other words, so-called, a spouse is listening. Hearing is a spouse listens to the other party's saying in an absent sort of way. And, a passive listening, hearing the other party's saying without paying special attention or without showing sympathizing response. And, a positive listening, paying attention and showing sympathizing response. And, a contextual listening, hearing with understanding the opponent's feeling, emotion, and even the context of the speaker. The word carries only 7% of the message it wants to convey. Meanings of the remaining 93% are conveyed in voice, tone, facial expressions, and gestures. So listening to others speaking superficially is just like seeing the tip of a giant iceberg. Listening attentively is wisdom to obtain the other's heart. Listening attentively is a kind of skill that needs to be taught and developed continuously. Listening attentively must be developed into listening with a respectful mind. Listening to the person you talk to with genuine respect and honor is the greatest hearing. Do not say right after your thought arises. If you give a word prudently after thinking 3 times, there is at least no big mistake. Listening attentively is a high level recognition process that shares the meaning of words with the other party. Listening is an activity that feeds back on what the other party communicates and returns fresh and dynamic energy to the other. Listening attentively is an activity that raises the quality of life beyond the level of language activity. Listening attentively makes you happy. It can build trust among people and brighten society. Listening attentively is not obtained automatically. Be patient. There must be a mind to wait. And training is needed. If you are in a hurry, wait 3 seconds in your mind. Those 3 seconds will give you the right answer. People say that they cannot concentrate for more than 3 minutes when they listen to one sided talk. So, if you lose concentration, you will hear in a missed state that other's speech does not come into your ears. And it causes the speaker to feel an empty mind. With the sighing, there is no one to listen to. However, the situation will be different if you become the first person to listen for yourself. You hear the other person's words and then you ask the escalator type questions to make sure that the topic is worthy. Great. How did you get that idea? Those who have listened to you well, and those who have made you able to speak well, make you have an unconscious affinity. It is because you have an emotional catharsis. And after that, you become willing to listen to the other person. The person who has such a good feeling increases the persuasive power. Chinggis Khan, who conquered the world, did not even know how to write his name, but it is said that he was a genius of listening attentively. Kenichi Ome, one of the world's foremost economists, says he asks for a seat to sit next to a person of different sex, nationality, or other occupation when he is on an airplane. Air travel is a perfect opportunity to meet other people and listen to their stories. We recommend IDA as a method of listening. IDA means attention, interest, desire, and ask. Listen with your ears, hear with your body, listen with your heart, and finally ask you affirmatively. Honesty's dictionary concept is right and straight without lie or embellishment. According to the survey, only 45.8% of middle and high school students answered that honesty is more important than wealth accumulation. More than 50% of the youth have prioritized wealth over honesty. In particular, 17.7% of the respondents said that if they receive 10 billion won in 10 years, they can commit corruption. According to the International Transparency International Agency, Korea's corruption index is lower than that of Uruguay and Hungary by 43rd place with Malaysia. This means that our society is still not transparent and fair, and that no one, regardless of social class, is free from the chain of corruption. If you take a successful business person to a company that is going down, he or she will change that company into a successful company. On the contrary, if you put a failing business person in a successful business, he could soon break the business. Therefore, the transparent business ethics of the management is most important. To demonstrate that an executive has an honest personality, he must show his integrity and sincerity. Honesty has the best value. Nonetheless, modern people living in the capitalist economic system struggle to set a limit between the pursuit of mental values and the pursuit of proper material. In fact, money is necessary because it is the basic means of living as an exchange value. But money is not all the same. There is good money that is obtained by sacred labor, and there is evil money which is obtained in a way that is not honorable. The face value is the same, but the internal value is different. Earning money honestly is productive. It is easy to waste money, such as water. Dae Yong Hong, who had become a North Korean scholar of the Chosun dynasty, cited inadequate heterosexuality, immoral money, and blind. Dae Yong Hong, who had become a North Korean scholar of the Chosun dynasty, cited inadequate heterosexuality, immoral money, and blind faith as the three factors that caused. Dae Yong Hong, who had become a North Korean scholar of the Chosun dynasty, cited inadequate heterosexuality, immoral money, and blind faith as the three factors that caused people to be deceived. It is said that it was a reflection of those times, but it is still common today. From childhood, we have lived in a world of exaggeration and pride. If the child is a little better, the parents would oversell. My child must be a genius. If I teach only one word, he gets 10 words. The true meaning of life should be taught to live in a joyful and humble posture with the utmost sincerity to live a true life. But Korean education has concentrated on the best honorary, brilliant, gifted, and the first rated student. A child grows up in an environment where he or she unknowingly exaggerates, boasts, and inflates or lies. So, even if he or she grows up later, he or she becomes more involved in packing himself or herself rather than improving it. So, even if he or she grows up later, he or she becomes more involved in packing himself or herself rather than improving inside. In the English proverb, to be happy for one day, go to the barber shop and shave your head. To be happy for a week, get married. Buy a horse for a month or a new house for a year. But if you want to be happy all your life, be an honest human being. As such, honesty leads to greater virtues in the marketplace. Untruthful entrepreneurs do not grow big because they become untrustworthy entrepreneurs. Few businessmen succeed without the basic virtues of being honest and respecting human beings in the early years of connection. Now, honesty is not a good additional virtue, but a must. Philosopher Kant's father was Polish. He was on a hiking trail to go to his hometown, Silesian, Poland. A robber appeared and robbed his horse and everything he had. The robber asked the father, "Is there anything you have hidden?" Kant's father said, "There is no more." Stop now. Kant's father was robbed of everything, but he escaped safely. However, on the way, he noticed that there was a gold bullion hidden in his pants. Kant's father was worried for a moment and then went back to the robber and said, "Sorry. When you asked me if there was nothing hidden because I was so scared and uninspired a short time ago, when I was walking, I found that I had hidden this gold bullion." When the word was finished, the burglar fell on him, giving him the goods and horse that he had taken away. "I was wrong. Pray for me. I am afraid of you." The robbery fell on his knees to the stupidly honest Kant's father. Respect's lexical concept is to be highly valued. Modern society needs the law of the orchestra rather than the law of the jungle. First, each member should acknowledge that he or she is different from each other and start with the consideration and respect of the other. When each recognizes and respects each other, they discover their mutual strengths, and when all of their strengths are shared, all members can demonstrate their teamwork with enthusiasm. You should respect the person who is different as much as you want to be treated. The attitude of respect for other opinions in a democratic society is definitely needed. It is necessary to have tolerance to listen to different opinions on the premise that the other is not wrong. Even though the terms different and wrong are different, we normally express a word of different as the word of wrong. Each person's thoughts are different, but their thoughts are not wrong. Tolerance is a word derived from the Latin tolerare, that you endure or tolerate, to acknowledge each other's differences and to respect the other's opinion. Tolerance is a virtue that enables coexistence by tolerating different religions, ideas, and beliefs in a society that has been diversified by the principle of coexistence that France has acquired through its long experience. It is similar to the spirit of stubbornness of Koreans. You should respect yourself and others, and keep your law, order, morals, and conscience. If this basic thing collapses, the entire society becomes confused. The law of the jungle is used at the stage of low income or culture, but it should be changed to the rule of the orchestra at the stage of high income or culture. In the jungle, you have to kill other people or animals to live, but the orchestra makes all the sounds sublimated to a chord of harmony. Walmart's CEO, Liska, calls the employee an associate rather than an employee. He does not consider an employee a passive person who moves as you please, but respects him or her as a working partner. He talks to other executives and listens to their advice, as well as stops by the store once a week to talk to the staff and check the site's circumstances. Trust is the highest value a company must pursue to become a respected company. If you do not get trust from shareholders, employees, customers, and society, there is no future or hope for the company. The practice of win-win management is also an inevitable item. Companies that pursue profit alone can no longer be given the word of respect. Above all, in order to become a respected company, it is necessary to engage in activities that can meet the increased public opinion on corporate social responsibility. Korea's compliance level is close to the last out of 30 member countries of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD). It is an uncomfortable rank for the powerful nation that moves up and down around the top 10 economically in the world. If a society is the one where a big voice or a power wins, it is nothing but a savage society no matter how affluent it is. Compliance GDP is closely linked to social capital, intangible capital. These are norms and values that society should share, such as mutual trust and compliance, labor peace, corruption, and business ethics. In developed countries, social capital contributes 80% of national wealth. Smile's lexical concept is smiling or such a voice or expression. Humans are said to smile 30 times more when they are together than when they are alone. This means that we all need social action. Laughter is a better communication medium than anything else. Regardless of what the speaker makes you really laugh, if the listener repays with laughter, it becomes a catalyst for the conversation. A child smiles more than 500 times a day. However, when it becomes an adult, he or she laughs just 15 to 16 times a day. Koreans are very stingy about laughter. Koreans laugh only when they have a close relationship, but they are very blunt for others. Westerners, especially Americans, often do not know each other but laugh. Japanese have been recognized as the most kind people in the world through smiles and laughs thoroughly trained since childhood. Japanese do not sell things, but sell kindness and smiles. They smile when they try to hide anger, sadness, and repulsion. Smiles and laughter are panacea. Every time you smile, you get $2,000 worth of endorphins. If you laugh 15 seconds a day, you can live 2 more days. If you laugh a lot, 650 muscles move and it equals the effect of doing aerobics for 5 minutes. When laughing, the oxygen supply doubles and your brain gets better. Humorous people are treated. Laughter makes people forget the differences among people temporarily and activate emotional communication. When laughing together, people get together. Like, blessing comes when laughing. Laughter has the effect of enhancing mood, pleasing, and happiness. You are not smiling because you are happy, but you are happy because you are smiling. A person who saves laughter does not succeed. Look at the mirror and practice your laugh. In fact, many people do not know what kind of look they usually make. Laughter also needs practice and needs to get used to it. Let's look at the mirror and give feedback about your face and practice smiling. If you are frowning unconsciously, even customers will go away. Confidence is more important than anything else. A person without confidence is clearly visible on his face. But a person who is full of confidence is compact and convinces people to expect positive results. Scientists have had fun experiments. The scientists began collecting the breath coming out when a couple fought each other with the fury of desperation and experimented with a poisonous substance, which surprisingly came up with a substance that was stronger than the cobra poison. They took another person and collected his saliva after provoking him to be nervous, shutting him up in a cell, and found the poison killing dozens of bulls. However, when they examined the brain of a person who laughed happily, they surprisingly neutralized the toxicity and secreted a lot of hormones that could kill even cancer cells. Laughter also changes people's moods. When you laugh, the energy of the world flows to you. The whole world delivers laughter to me. There are a lot of empirical studies that reveal the health effects. In 2005, researchers at the University of Maryland digested the vascular relationship. Researchers showed an average 22% increase in blood flow after showing comedy movies to subjects. Increased blood flow strengthens the cardiovascular system. Laughter is a panacea. On the other hand, the subject who watched a movie that caused stress decreased blood flow by 35%. People who cope with stress by humor have a much better immune system and are 40% less likely to suffer from heart disease or stroke. You feel less pain when you pull your teeth out. It may be because endorphins, which are natural painkillers, are harvested. The lifespan will be extended by 4.5 years from the average of ordinary people. If you laugh, you get younger, and if you get angry, you get older. You need to laugh as much as you can, even though the world is chaotic. Laughter is the best makeup. Laughter is a way of expressing happiness. People say that laughter is lacking these days. However, if you can smile vigorously with a more relaxed mind, efficiency will increase in all things. Pleasant laughter is a symbol of health and happiness in any country. The face is honest. The first impression is decided in only 6 seconds. The first impression is determined by 80% of appearance, facial expression, gesture, and tone of voice, 13% of the way of talking, and the remaining 7% of the personality. As the expression determines the life of the person, the relationship between expression and emotion is inseparable. The face of a person is made up of 80 muscles, which can make 7,000 faces with 80 muscles. The most abundant and the most subtle of our body's muscles is the face. So you can see the person by looking at his face. We say it is an impression. As we can always change our face into this shape, We have to have a laughing face like morning sunshine to make our soul alive every single day. Laughter makes us happy. Laughter is good makeup. There are no cosmetics that brighten our face other than laughter. And laughter physiologically purifies the blood well, is good for digestion, and is good for blood circulation as well. When you smile, your head becomes bright. Stress is relieved. When laughing while holding the belly button, the poisonous substance accumulated in the bowel loosens, and oxygen spreads to the vital cord of the whole body at once. Laughing is the most powerful aerobic exercise. So when you laugh unconditionally. Even if there is nothing to laugh at, you just laugh. Just smile and the brain thinks that there is something funny and pours out endorphins. Let's not find the reason for laughter. Laughter does not need to be understood. Like little children, smile for no reason. Unknown happiness will come back. It is said that it has the effect of full speed at 100 meters running when it is stretched for 5 seconds. Laughter of 5 minutes is said to have a 3 hour stretching effect. So, laugh unconditionally right now. You would rather be a master of laughter. Dr. William Fry, at Stanford University Hospital, who has been studying laughter for over 30 years, says that a 3 minute smile gives the same effect as rowing a boat for 10 minutes. Also, if you laugh out loud for 20 seconds, you will get the same effect as a 5 minute aerobics. The dictionary concept of consideration is to help or care for. It was the next word that surprised us more than the saying that movie star Jackie was going to leave 400 billion won of his property to society. If you are competent, you will not need your father's money, and if you are incapacitated, you will devour your father's wealth. If you spend it all, you will not be able to save, and you cannot donate unless you separate the donation in advance. There is no excuse for donation. Confucius said, "Don't do for other people what you do not want." It gives a lesson to take care of others. There are similar words in many religions. A good person lives thinking that what is best for others is best for themselves. Hinduism, do not hurt others by giving pain to yourself. Buddhism, do everything to them the same as you think others have to do for you. Christianity, to acknowledge the dignity of everyone, including yourself, and act accordingly. Yes, it is the golden rule commonly used today. Do not do for other people what you do not want. We need to be mindful of considering other people. A person saw a blind man walking on a road at night with a lantern on, and asked why the blind man was carrying the lantern on. The blind man replied, "I cannot see, but would like to let others see me." This is an attitude that cares for others. It is the first step of caring to think about someone else who is precious as well as me. In the OECD, the National Happiness Index (GNH) was established as a true development index instead of the GNP. Sociologists use the concept of social capital to assess the maturity of society. The common feature of the developed countries is that they have a deep trust among the members and a transparent society in which the rule of law works well. An old lady who donated money to her college after selling her rice rolled with seaweed for all her life. An entrepreneur who donated billions of dollars having collected living without turning a fan on even in the middle of the summer. And a TV star who donated all the money she received for CF performance fee. Donors can feel personal satisfaction and achievement through the donation. Only those who have donated can know the honey taste of the donation. However, in spite of these advantages, there is still no active donation culture in Korea. The reason is that people in Korea have misconceptions or mistrust about giving. Donation plays a decisive role in solving the unmet needs of neighbors and society and solving social problems by providing donations, donating money or goods without receiving a specific price or servicing voluntarily. I would like to introduce a representative example that good things happen when we consider others. One day when it rained suddenly, Clement Stone, one of the furniture companies, took an old lady in front of the furniture store and let her sit in a chair to relax. It gave a little kindness, but later in its name a great order came in. That's exactly what Carnegie ordered, and the old lady was Carnegie's mother. Everyone has his own vision and values. Even if you look at the same thing, the feeling or expression would be different. It is not just a question of right and wrong, but an acknowledgement of diversity. Therefore, you should respect other people and consider others. A mature society is a society that values distribution and care as well as growth. To care for others is to practice, after you. There should be an attitude to hold the doorknob and turn around. If you have someone else behind you, you are in a position to make concessions. When you ride a bus, a subway, or a taxi, do you yield to others and care for others? We see a lot of behaviors disdaining others from young people and elderly seniors. The world is getting darker when we see a person who thinks only of himself. In order to be successful, you have to have a basic personality. If you do not have a foundation, you will soon be found out. There must be many true friends who can help each other in good things and help each other when they are in trouble. Be courteous, respect other people, be honest, and nurture a sense of humor. Thank you for being alive, and writing thank you diary and thank you letters. Open your mind and listen sincerely and have a listening attitude to understand the other party's position. You live an honest life that does not deceive you and others, and you refuse to make bad income such as bribes or entertainment. You respect yourself and your family, colleagues, and people around you. You always smile and laugh happily. You first practice, after you, and consider other people first, such as the difficult social underprivileged.